Today's story is for all of us misfits and outcasts, like Rebecca Bammert. She grew up as a self-described nerdy goth kid in Warrensburg. She got bullied a lot. Today, she's a social worker there, dealing with some of those same issues in other kids. And in her free time, she started drawing a comic book series that brings those two worlds together. The story behind Lonely Girl on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day is provided by Renew Architecture and Design, designing camps, custom homes, and more throughout NCPR's listening region. Details at renewarchitecture.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, May 9th. First up, about 2,700 people have signed an online petition calling on SUNY Potsdam to change its mind about downsizing its theater and dance department. NCPR reported last week that 5 of the department's 9 faculty members received notice that their contracts would not be renewed or their status would be downgraded. The online petition by members, supporters, and alumni of the department says the faculty affected, quote, have demonstrated exceptional dedication and performance and are integral to the department's ongoing success. The petition asked the university to reconsider. The university is facing a reported multi-million-dollar deficit and declining student enrollment. SUNY Potsdam's president and SUNY's chancellor have both declined to comment on the changes. Let's get right to the story of the comic book Lonely Girl in Warrensburg. Monica Sandreski has the story.
Rebecca Bammert says high school kind of sucked.
Teen years are the worst. High school is hell.
She got made fun of a lot. Kids called her Death Girl because of her goth style and because her sister died in a car accident. One time at a middle school dance, some guys were making fun of Bammert's pale skin and black makeup. Later in the night, one of them asked her to dance.
And I said no, even though I really wanted to dance and he was really cute. But I just didn't want to be with someone who didn't want me the way I was. And I thought that was really important, even at 13.
That's been a theme that's matured in Bammert's life. The tension of changing your style to feel accepted or be who you are, even if it's unconventional. She's always loved anime and singing. All her friends were misfits and theater kids. Her mom loved how she was. She bought her her first spiked dog collar to wear to school.
My mom always used to say, let your freak flag fly.
But when Bammert was in her 30s, her number one fan, her mom, died of breast cancer. She says in her grief, she couldn't sing, but she could draw. A friend bought her Sharpies, a sketch pad, and a book on how to draw manga.
It kind of just was a way to kind of draw your grief, I guess, and turn your grief into something else. And because I'm a social worker, I feel that everything you do should make the world a better place.
So in 2015, she started a comic called Lonely Girl. She's done about 15 issues.
So this is a picture of Lonely Girl, and she's kind of a shy goth girl.
In her living room in Glens Falls, Bammert curls up in the corner of the couch to draw.
And she's kind of got her arms crossed and stuff. And it was me kind of just trying to draw how I felt.
Bammert has long strawberry blonde hair and is wearing a black Wednesday Addams dress. She's still into spooky stuff, as she calls it. Each issue of the comic focuses on a different problem kids deal with. It's definitely for preteens. The characters look like doodles in a notebook. Like Bammert, Lonely Girl has a strong support system and a strong love for 90s alt rock.
So, and that's her little friend Melly.
Oh, who loves Rage Against the Machine?
Yes, right.
We gotta take the power back!
Melly stands up to bullies and reminds Lonely Girl to be brave. Plus, her sidekick, a talking one-eyed cat named Spooky Cat, based on her own real-life kitty, shares sort of a moral in each issue. She gets story ideas from the teenage clients she works with as a social worker. One issue is called Everybody Hurts, which deals with grief.
I have an issue of Lonely Girl called Lonely Girl Feels Ugly. Not Lonely Girl is ugly. Lonely Girl feels ugly. Which is based on a real life experience that I had in school where I overheard some boys talking very bad about me.
She reads one of the comic bubbles.
Yuck, she's a weirdo. Not to mention, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's a -2. Gross. And Lonely Girl does the same thing that I did. Lonely Girl decides that she's going to change who she is because she wants a boyfriend. She's 13 years old. She wants to be liked by boys.
She swaps her black eyeliner and 9-inch nails t-shirt for a dress and lipstick.
And there's a nice little scene where her mom and her friends try to interject and say, "We love you just the way you are. Why would you change?"
Lonely Girl struggles between wanting to be liked and wanting to be herself.
So in the end, she decides that she's just going to be Lonely Girl and that the world is just going to have to deal with it because she's okay. Yeah. So, exactly. Yeah. And I put in the back of that issue, there's a picture of me in 7th grade, which is very embarrassing. But I wanted kids to see that we've all been there.
We have all been there. And in some way, Bammert feels like she's still there. She says she's much more accepting of herself, but sharing her story hasn't gotten rid of her struggles.
You know, I'm almost 40 years old, and I still have crippling low self-esteem, bad body image issues. There are days where I'm just really embarrassed to be in my own skin, and it's a result of being bullied continuously for years. My family was loving. My friends were loving. My partner is loving. My life is blessed with love, but it didn't erase what those kids did to me. And that's why it's so important to me that we stop it.
She talks with kids and parents directly about bullying. She sets up booths at Comic-Cons in Albany and Saratoga Springs and writes the words social worker in big letters on her Lonely Girl sign.
I had a really good time at the Comic-Con. I didn't sell a lot of comics, but I met a lot of really cool kids. Children who don't fit into a certain sexuality or gender tend to feel really lonely. So they come right over my table. They see the name Lonely Girl and they go, "I'm lonely too."
She's introducing a non-binary character in Lonely Girl soon. She feels for these kids. Just like her mom supported her, she's passionate about helping them navigate middle school years.
They should be enjoyable. They shouldn't be filled with all these weird social pressures that we put on kids.
You're almost moved to tears by this.
Yeah, it means a lot to me because I never want any kid to feel the way that I felt. Because, when you look at a child, when you look at a 12 or 13-year-old, and you see the small person, how could anybody wish anything awful like that on them? I just want to let them know that it gets better.
You never know what someone else is going through. So Bammert says you have to keep your heart open. Bammert scoops up the real-life Spooky Cat and flips to the front pages of 2 of the Lonely Girl editions.
This one is dedicated to my friends and family, but the first book is dedicated to what we call baby bats, and that's young goth kids. In the goth scene, we call the young ones, the ones in high school, baby bats. So it's dedicated to them. It says, "Rock on, my friends. Be brave, be kind, be you."
That's Lonely Girl's life motto, and now it's Bammert's too. Monica Sandreski, North Country Public Radio, Glens Falls.
You can see some examples of the Lonely Girl comic books on our website, ncpr.org. We have more news there all the time, too, of course, ncpr.org. Music today by Pencil Dive of Saratoga Springs and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.